Okay, just about to make some artichoke soup because we've got some from the garden. So I'm just going to show you how to make a simple dipping bread. This isn't a bread for making sandwiches from it. It's a good firm bread that you can dip in a soup and get a good wallop up. So we've got 200 grams of strong white flour. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon and a half of sea salt. Don't try and cut down on the salt or the soup. The bread will taste awful. About a packet of instant yeast. I have a big bag, but that's about a packet, 7 grams, I suppose. 130 grams of warm water. This is what we call 65% hydration bread. Okay, all we're going to do now is I'm going to take my hand, and that's all that's in this bread, by the way. I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to mix this up and bring it together. So there you go, it took about a minute. I've just literally stirred it around my hand, brought the dough together. So we're going to move this slightly. And now on a lightly floured board, pop the dough on, and all we're going to do is now knead it for 10 minutes. Now if you do this with the ball of your hand and like this, so it's a case of push, fold, push, fold. You want to be aggressive with it and really give it a good kneading. You want to do this for about 10 minutes. This is what creates the gluten that gives us the bread. So there you go, I've been kneading that for 10 minutes. I can feel it's nice and elastic now. And you can see it's got a nice smooth finish to it. So if you underknead it, you're not going to get a nice bread. And whilst we're not after a perfect loaf, we are after something that will dip in soup pretty nice. So what we're going to do now is pop it back in the bowl. Just put a moist tea towel over the top. And we're going to wait for about, well, I won't say a time because if you're doing this in the summer, it'll be quick. If you're doing it in the winter, it'll be longer. You can put it in a warming drawer or anything like that. So all the times will differ. But what you want is for that to become that. So basically double in size. So we'll leave it now and come back whenever. Okay, so there you go. It's doubled in size. We're just going to take it out and just knock the air out of it a bit. Take it back to its original size. Now we're going to shape it. Just start to shape it. We're not going to finish it. So pull the ends in and tuck them like that. And then just use your fingers to drag it back on itself. Just a little bit. And all we're after is getting like a mini loaf shape. And that's got to rest for about 5 minutes. Just to allow the gluten to relax a little bit. That's rested for a couple of minutes. We're just going to really lightly flour the board, not too much at all. We're going to cut that in half using a board scraper. Again, just bring that under to shape it a little bit. Now we're going to use both our hands, gently pushing down and drawing your hands away from each other. We're just going to create a long sausage. Now this is going to be coated, so don't worry about the texture of the outside too much. When you get to the ends of it, just bring your hands down a bit to create a point. And don't try and do it all in one bit because it will tear a little bit. That's one, start the other. Because gluten creates like an elastic, if you try and push it too hard, it will misbehave and come back and bite you. So little by little, just get it to the stage you want, which is kind of that. So don't worry about the shape being perfect, it's going to be coated. Because we're having this particular one with an artichoke soup, I want it a little bit cheesy in it, so in a little while you'll see what I mean. So that's it. Now we're just going to cover that in a damp cloth, and we're going to leave that until it virtually doubles in size again. Right, the bread's had time to rest now. I've got 2 plates here, or trays, what you want to call them. One has a little bit of water in it. That's going to be our glue. And this has a mixture of grated parmesan, a little bit of dried Italian seasoning, and some smoked paprika. This is going to give it kind of an Italian-y feel to the bread, but it will go really nice. So we pick up our bread. It's about twice the size it was, and we just roll the top in the water, carefully lift it out, and just start coating it with the cheese. And flip it over, and you can see you've got a nice coating. So we'll do the same with the other one. Okay, I've got the oven heated to 200 degrees, and at the bottom I've got a small pan of water just to create a tiny bit of steam. Now before they go in, we're just going to take a pair of scissors and snip 3/4 of the way through, turning it. So snip, turn, snip, turn. Can you see I'm not going all the way through? Snip, turn, snip, snip. Okay, and then as that cooks, you'll be able, it will sort of portion itself out. So when you serve it, you just tear off a bit and dunk it in your soup. This bread really is all about soup. Who doesn't like dunking bread in soup? There we go. So these are going to go into the oven now. They're probably going to take, I don't know, 10, 12, maybe longer minutes. I'm not going to give a time because every oven's different. My oven's quite strong, so maybe about 10, 15 minutes. Yours may take 20, 30 minutes. But I'll show you when they're cooked. Basically, you want to be able to turn them over, tap them, and hear like a hollow sound. But I'll put them in the oven, and then we'll have a look afterwards. Okay, so I've just taken them out of the oven. You can see. So we're going to take them out of the tray, pop them on this rack to cool. And then once they're cooled, you serve them with your nice pot of fresh soup. You literally just tear off an end piece, dunk it in your soup. Now, even if you've made the most basic soup, if you serve one of these with it per person or whatever, you've got a lovely meal. And this is, let's face it, you've got 200 grams of flour. That's going to be, what, 50 pence? You've got a packet of yeast. I don't know what a packet's by because I buy a big one, but I'm going to guess it sort of between 50 and £1. A bit of water, a bit of salt. Cheese, you don't have to put that on, you can just cook it as it is. But anyway, you take a really cheap meal and you make it into something really enjoyable. So I'm going to put these aside, let them cool, then I'm going to go and make the artichoke soup. Do try this, it is good.